We know what time it is. This is the city of Detroit.
You know
we love the Detroit Lions. We love NFL. So let's get back into those Detroit Lions in the NFL. Everybody seems to be on board with the Detroit Lions in terms of what they're going to do, what they're going to accomplish. Everybody has them winning the NFC North. Everybody has them making the playoffs, and everybody has them, being that team that they saw for the last 10 games of the season. A lot of people trust and believe that. But none other than this guy right here, Louis Riddick from ESPN.
Love
Shout out
Lou.
to this though, Louis Riddick.
You're already
I
locked
get it.
in on something.
Yeah, sure.
Well, I'll set this up by saying this. I said this in January. Okay?
I like it.
Right after they were done, like mopping Lambeau
Yeah.
with the Packers. It was Detroit. Rich,
They mopped.
this team
They mopped.
has got it going on. And I know people are going to say, what? They drafted Jahmyr Gibbs and Jack Campbell in the first round. They don't know what the hell they're doing. Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. But they have a top 3 offensive line in all football. In all football. They have a quarterback who some people are sitting there going, did Sean get that wrong? Not to say that Matthew wasn't great out there and they won a Super Bowl with him, but Jared Goff is no throwaway. Clearly. They have the future in Hendon Hooker. So that room just got stronger. At wide receiver, I understand that now, you're going to have some issues with depth, at least for the beginning of the season, with Jameson Williams' situation. But Marvin Jones, Josh Reynolds, Amon-Ra St. Brown, these guys, they can hold it down. They'll be just fine. Sam Laporta, who they drafted out of Iowa, I got to see him in person this past year. He's going to be one of those guys who you wind up going, another Iowa tight end that's up for all rookie and maybe a reserve Pro Bowler. Shocking. We've never seen that happen before out of Iowa tight end. And Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, forget it. That's one of the best one. You can put that up against any 1-2 punch of running backs in the NFL. Jahmyr Gibbs is a freaking superstar.
Louis, I heard coming out of
How about that?
And before I even talk about what he just said, I want to throw this out there. I have insight. Louis Riddick was part of a team. He was part of trying to become the GM for the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, we all wanted him.
Yeah. So right before they bought in Brad Holmes, he was on that. He wanted to come to Detroit. He saw what Detroit can be in terms of a city, in terms of some of the talent that they had, in terms of some of the things they could do. So he's always seen Detroit as a team that had it if the right things were in place. And man, our things are in place. Maz, when you hear that, what do you think?
Well, first of all, it gets me pumped up. I like Louis Riddick. I respect the hell out of him. He's one of my faves. I love Dan Orlovsky. I like Louis Riddick.
He was
terrific.
He was a good player, too.
Terrific. He knows what he's talking about.
Yeah.
I like him on the broadcast as well.
Yeah.
I think he's very football knowledgeable. He didn't have to say what he says. But you know what? He's putting his you-know-whats on the table. And
he's not
saying,
a clickbait guy.
No.
This isn't clickbait.
Nope.
This isn't somebody.
Every time someone talks to him,
Yeah.
he brings this Lions team up.
True.
He sees what we all are now living and what we all see for the first time, really, in all of our lives here that are listening to the show and watching the show.
Yeah.
Except for the occasional 60-plus-year-old like me. Might be a couple of us out there. Philippines out there. He always listens to us as well. I think he's up there in age as well. But no one here that's watching or listening has ever had this feeling about a Lions team. Maybe the 2014 team really had me pumped, but they were missing something. They were missing something. They couldn't put it all together. I think it was maybe Gentleman Jim Caldwell. This wasn't great in-game as a coach. He was a terrific coach. People loved him. But he ain't this guy. And Dan Campbell made mistakes. We all know. The last 2 years, he has made buffoonery mistakes. But he's getting better. Yeah. He's getting better. And I just see this team. I don't see anybody. If this team stays healthy, I think they're going to win, obviously, 1, maybe 2 playoff games going forward.
JB, get involved here. What do you think about when you hear a Louis Riddick, when you hear someone of his caliber, someone of his professionalism, when he just it was glowing, talking about the Detroit Lions and talking about what he expects to see from them this year. A team that hasn't been that. What do you think when you see that?
I mean, it's a well-known name, and it just goes to show that he has a lot of faith and a lot of confidence in where he sees this team going, where he sees Dan Campbell, Brad Holmes positioning this team in the right direction. He's laying out all the tools for this team to go somewhere. I know that to start off with the draft, we had some questionable picks, but still, to see how they will work together and work with Ben Johnson in this offense, it's giving you hope. It's giving you faith that somehow, some way, this team will be in a playoff position. We will be in a playoff hunt. We will be competing for a playoff championship and be the Kings of the North, which I have predicted for a while now. So hats off to him, and I'm glad that finally everyone in the media and the sports media is now seeing that Detroit is now on notice.
Shout out to JB with the Game of Thrones reference. They are looking to be the Kings in the North. Gentry, the same. When it comes to everyone being a Detroit Lions fan, in terms of everything that you guys have been through, and I say you guys because I'm new to the fan. I legitimately didn't sign up back in the day. I love Barry Sanders. I love Herman Moore, Brett Perriman, Kevin Glover. The list goes on, but I wasn't a Lions fan. When you have the faith, when you believe, when you start talking NFC Championship, but then when you start to see guys, because there's still doubt from an in-city fan, but then when you start to see national guys talk about what that makes you feel like.
I think it's just reassuring as a Lions fan, because obviously every year we kind of go through these phases of hope, and we're like, oh, well, this is the year we're going to get better, this is that. But now when you see multiple national media sources all coming together and they're holding the Lions to this pedestal saying they're going to be so good, it's definitely reassuring.
The thing I love about that, Maz, is this. Brad Holmes knows what he's doing. Like, Brad Holmes, it seems he knows what he's doing. Now, I always say this, because you got to leave yourself and out.
Yeah.
He's got to be right. Now, he's got to be right about these picks. He's got to be right. Now, with that being said, everybody's not wrong. When you watch how in 2021, in the offseason last year, everybody said, what are you doing running it back with this team?
Yeah, we laughed.
All of us.
Yeah.
I to this day, I still don't necessarily understand it.
And then bringing back Anzalone and giving him a contract this year.
3 years.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? $24 million. But he saw, you see the draft picks. You see the players he's taking late in rounds. You see the offseason he's had this year. You see the draft. When you look at the draft, because everybody breaks it down, we keep talking about this till we're blue in the face. You got arguably the best complete secondary player in the draft. You got the best complete running back in the draft. You got the best after the catch and receiving tight end in the draft. And then in Jack Campbell, you got a player that has graded out. There hasn't been a middle linebacker grade this high in a very long time.
Or one that looks like him. Big and tall and strong.
Like, he's a mutant. And sometimes you look at a certain thing and it's like a 6'5", 4'6". Sometimes that's not a bad thing because the way in which he tests is off the charts. Look at Maz over here. Hey, shout out to you, by the way, wearing the Atlanta Braves.
I thought of you today when I put this on.
And I know you did. And that's why I got to give you some love. Everybody knows that I'm a Detroit Tiger and Atlanta Braves because I spent a lot of time in Atlanta growing up. So love those Braves. But, yeah, man, they have their finger on the pulse. You got the right guy drafting the players, and it seems that you got the right guy in Dan Campbell coaching the players, and you got the right coaching staff.
Well, you know how I feel about Dan Campbell and his coaching staff. Yeah. I'm all in on Dan. I'm all in on MCDC.